to my own shame, I realized recently that I've never actually sat down and played through the original Quake, despite owning both the PC and Saturn versions of the game for just under 15 years of my life. I first encountered Quake on the N64 of all things. Not owning a PC growing up, I was left to PC hand-me-down console ports of PC games. I rented Quake 64 for a weekend, and I'm pretty sure that I cheated to beat the game. $3 for 3 days of rental. I didn't have time to waste on pesky things like playing through the entire game. I know I've played through different episodes of this game over the years, as Quake, along with Quake 2, and the original Unreal were always the first 3 games I would install on any new computer. But it wasn't until this week that I finally just sat down and played all the way through the remastered version of Quake, episode to episode, level to level, and I was really blown away at the deepening level of complexity the design takes as you delve deeper into the hallowed halls of Quake. Twisting, winding levels with an eclectic mixture of enemies and themes that have absolutely no continuation from one level to the next, yet still all come together to make a game that expanded the horizons of what we thought was possible in games, and, looking back, shows a level of complexity and attention to design that most modern games would be exorbitantly better if they would siphon even just a smidgen, a minute fraction of it in their bland, too careful to take risks design formulas. While most modern games are focused grouped to design mediocrity, Quake was born in a time when developers would grab innovation by the nethers and run with it. I'm just going to make a quick mention of Quake's bigger effects like the advent of 3D accelerators, the coveted voodoo cards for GL Quake, the grandparents of GPUs that we use today, the advent of online gameplay, and containing the source code on the disk for easy access, pushing mod making into the mainstream, going beyond what PC gamers were already experimenting with by making custom Doom WADs. If you could sum up the coolest time to be a gamer, that exciting jump from the 2D era to the 3D/modern era, since the advent of gaming itself, with just one game. Sorry, Nintendo fanboys, it's not Super Mario 64, it's Quake. Not that Doom, Mario, and all the other early 3D titles didn't play their part, but without exaggeration, I could credit Quake for being that game that shaped gaming into what it is today more than any other early 3D game. For my first official playthrough, I used the recently released Quake Remastered, which brings the game to the Kex engine and updates the graphics, allowing up to 4K display, and also includes the expansion packs to the game, which I've never played, and a new expansion by Machine Head Games called Dimension of the Machine. Quake is a mixture of well-designed levels, fast-paced movement and gameplay, and beefy weapons that hit hard to take down the hodgepodge of enemies the game throws your way. As you delve deeper into each episode, you are presented with more, stronger weapons to take on the more, stronger enemies. The best part of the Quake experience, for me that is the feeling you get while playing it. Your character is a walking tank, taking down hordes of bullet sponge enemies. The weapons hit hard, and Quake offers the usual Doom assortment arsenal, with the nail gun replacing the chain gun in order to promote the Trent Reznor connection with the game. The fast, fluid movement gives the player a feeling of complete freedom of movement, and that is a feature in old-school shooters that is virtually unmatched by anything you see in any modern shooter. Combine the freedom of movement and beefy arsenal with intricately designed levels filled with tons of hidden areas and surprise enemies waiting to pop out at you at any moment, adding an air of uneasiness, maybe even horror if you will, making you pee yourself a little when you come face to face with a chainsaw-wielding ogre from a room you already cleared, and you have a shooter combination that is the showcase for why we still love so-called boomer shooters. A plethora of enemies to dispatch, complete freedom of movement, and extensively designed levels. This is why we still love these old shooters. Story, no story, the fast, frantic gameplay in these shooters compels you forward better than any storyline arc ever could. Retro shooter showcase substance over style, gameplay over fluff, and level design over the same tired story designs. These games were born in a time where developers took chances, and gameplay and design took precedent over everything else. In the brave new world of fully 3D gaming at the time, having only their previous work on Doom to go off of when it made this game, Quake is rightfully seen as the king of all boomer shooters. I'm not really going to go in depth with this review, as even younger gamers know about Quake, but I will say this. As far as remasters go, I fully recommend this Quake remaster to PC, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and soon-to-be Series X and PS5 owners. It's cheap, updates the visuals, comes with the expansions, and even has cross-platform online play, so PC gamers can smash console gamers who only have controllers to use. As for the online play with the remaster, it doesn't appear to have actual Quake Online, but a new online which features cross-platform play. This is a good thing for newbies like me, actually. You see, my one Quake Online experience came via a source port, and the game ended up being a 1v1 game. And not only did I get unmercifully murdered, I got murdered by a guy who knew exactly where I was going to spawn next. Die, respawn just to die, then respawn just to die. He was always there with his lightning gun of death. I mean, even John Carmack himself has admitted that the original Quake's online gameplay was pretty brutal, especially for newbies. Now I've actually put a bunch of hours into Quake 2's online, and am a painfully mediocre player on my best game. But Quake 1's online deathmatch has always been an intimidating prospect for me. I'm more likely to jump into Quake 2's online, terrifying railguns and all. I'm not sure why the original's deathmatches seem more intimidating to me than Quake 2 or even Quake 3's, but they just always have been. Perhaps I should just get over it and grab a source port and take my lickings like a man. But having a separated online experience for the remaster is a good idea as far as I'm concerned, and not just because I'm so bad I still lose using keyboard and mouse versus controller players, but because it separates newcomers from players who've been playing this game online for 25 years. Unless they grab a copy of the remaster, that is. Which they should, honestly, and so should anyone else who has a platform that this game is available on. This is a great remaster and a great way to play through the original Quake. I enjoyed my time with this game this week, and I look forward to playing it more in the future, especially online and playing all the expansions. A great deal for $9.99. You can't go wrong. You can't get a whole lot of games that are better for $9.99. Believe me, you just can't. This is Quake. This game changed gaming, dang it. You need to get this port, this remaster, if you will. And if you have it on Steam and you have old Quake, it's a free upgrade. You can't go wrong with that either. Any gamer with a console who can play this game, pick it up. It's a cheap way to experience one of the greatest and most revolutionary games ever made.